Hi, hello everyone. Uh, it's good to be here again. My name is Abiodun Sani, a data professional. I've been in the data industry for about 4 years now, and I'm excited to be back to creating amazing content for my audience, my subscribers. So, in this series, we want to talk about building a modern data stack, right? We have some stacks selected for this particular series, and I'm kind of going to be running through the stacks for you guys in a bit. So we're going to start up with the architecture, what's going to be like, and we'll go from there by building something from the extraction, to the loading of the data, to the transformation, right, to the testing, data quality checks, and also building the dashboards on a BI layer, right? So let me just walk you guys through the entire data lifecycle in the modern data stack. So now here we have a data architecture, right? And one thing is missing here, right? Of which it's part of what we're going to be discussing. I'm going to get there. So the very beginning of this architecture, we have Postgres, we have GCS, you have web. In this context, GCS is a data lake, and you can have like Azure Data Lake Storage here or AWS S3 in this at this layer, right? So that can fit into this uh, architecture very well. And then web is more like we want to like probably scrape data from the web or read data from APIs, from application and stuff like that, right? Then this is going to serve as our sources, so that we're going to be using for this data product that we are intending to build. So on the extract and loading part of our implementation, we have Python and Airbyte. Python is a programming language, scripting language that we can use to write custom scripts to extract data from our source. We can decide to do transformation, then load or reload directly. But the kind of implementation we are doing here is the extraction, transformation, loading and transformation, the ALT paradigm, of which is usually implemented in the modern data infrastructure now, right? So we're going to be implementing Python and Airbyte as our extraction and loading tool. So uh, having said that, on top of that, we're going to have DBT sitting at the transformation layer of our architecture. So BigQuery is sitting as our data warehouse here. So our extraction is picking from these sources, Postgres, GCS, or web, and loading it back into the data warehouse, which is BigQuery. This can be replaced with Redshift or Snowflake, as the case may be, right? So the raw data is being inserted into our data warehouse, right? And the essence of this is because we're implementing the ELT paradigm, and that ensures that our raw data is intact just as the way it is from the source. And the advantage of that is that since we are putting everything raw the way it is from the source into our data warehouse without any intermediary transformation, anything at all that we need can be gotten directly from our data warehouse without going back to the source, right? So DBT will now leverage on the raw data warehouse, the raw data that is already in the data warehouse for its transformation. We do the transformation, three-dimensional modeling, if you want to implement the star schema or the snowflake schema or data vault, one big table, etc., right? But we're going to be implementing the popular star schema, which is the simplest schema for business, for end users, or the business users in this case. So DBT is going to be used for our transformation, our modeling, we build, test, document, and deploy models using DBT. Then uh, on those final data products that is being created by DBT, we are going to now leverage good expectation as a tool for extensive data quality checks on our data products. Right, all of these data flow are being orchestrated using Airflow. So Airflow will be our orchestrator, serve as an orchestration tool to do from the extraction of the data from the sources to the loading to the data warehouse to also triggering the DBT job on BigQuery or Snowflake as the case may be to run the transformation and the modeling, right? Going further to the extensive data quality checks using great expectation. So we have extensive control around how our pipeline runs from the extraction to the quality checks. Now, on top of this quality data, we are going to be implementing superset. Superset is not in this picture, but that's what we are going to be bringing in in our BI layer to now build uh, dashboards, like interactive dashboard that the business can use to track KPIs and make key business decisions, right? This is an interesting architecture, and all of this, majority of this technology stack is going to be sitting on Docker, right? Docker is a containerization tool in order to like package your uh, all your technology stack as a service, and you can run them at once and shut down your container wherever the needs arise. You start up a container on your service and shut it down, right? Without having to uh without having to run any services unnecessarily running, keep any service unnecessarily running. So immediately your job is done, right? You can shut down your containers and you have your data as it is. And if you want to keep your services running for a particular containers running for a particular point in time, yeah, that's also fine, right? So with all of this process being implemented, we're going to be using GitHub. I didn't also mention I didn't kind of spell out GitHub in this entire workflow. So let me just pick on that. So I'm going to be using GitHub and GitHub pages. GitHub pages is going to be used for deploying our documentation of which GPT is going to be doing for us. So all the documentations as regards our models coming from where it's picking the data from the source to the transformation to the building of the data product are being well documented within DBT, and those documentation can then be posted on GitHub pages so that business users or engineers that are feeding on the downstream models on DBT can know the logical flow of data from right from the source to the final data product. It's going to help uh, business users, analysts or scientists or uh, co-engineers to understand the flow of data and do not necessarily have to like uh, interact with the engineers that build the data product to actually understand what is going on. And GitHub Actions is going to be used for CI/CD, continuous integration and deployment of our our entire pipeline, which is very, very important. So I need to mention that. Now, having said all of that, I'm just going to run through what are the necessary things we need to get up and running in order to follow this series through. So let me open up, let me show the material for this implementation real quick. Okay, so here we have like a documented material for the implementation, and I'm also going to share this with uh, my audience in the description of this video, so you can have access to this material and follow through. So what are the prerequisites that are needed? Definitely you have to have like a working PC of at least 8 gig RAM, at least 8 gig RAM. Though you can use a 4 gig RAM laptop, but I think you're just gonna have some kind of limitation, right? So 8 gig RAM is kind of very, very, very advisable. So this is going to be easily adaptable for Windows and Mac users, but Linux users can also follow through, but the technicalities that comes through with uh, setting up on Linux, so you have to be used with your command line and stuff like that. But you can also follow through. I have some documentations for that. So let's quickly run through. For you to be able to complete the setup from beginning to the end, you should have this prerequisite, which is Docker Desktop, Python, Git, Visual Studio. Visual Studio is used for more like your editor for your uh, scripts and GitHub and stuff like that. But then if you are probably not familiar with Visual Studio, you have some other kind of code editors that you use, I think you should also be good. But generally, I'll be using Visual Studio Code. Now, in order to get Docker Desktop, Python, Git, and Visual Studio downloaded, I will share like I think I have some document I can share. I'll share it in the description of this video so that you can get us set up on your system. So this documentation has for Mac users like a step-by-step guide on how to do some prerequisites, and for Windows users, also for Windows user, just go through that quickly. So let me see. I think it should have for Windows user. Yeah, for Windows user. Yeah. So for Mac user and for Windows user. So let me just continue from Windows user here. So after you've ensured that you've installed those prerequisites, which is Docker Desktop, Git, Python, and Visual Studio Code. So for Docker Desktop, go to application, start the Docker Desktop. So in order to like uh to start the Docker Desktop on Windows, for instance, you just go to your start menu after you have been able to install it. Right, then go to your start menu and do Docker Desktop and kind of like open it up. By the time you open it up, it will start at the background, right? It will start at the background. So let me see. Let me share that just a sec. Uh, Let me see. Windows capture. Uh, so you go to Docker, so just type Docker desktop. And as you can see Docker desktop here. Click on open. And click on open. And Docker desktop is going to like come up soon. After you've been able to like install it successfully, and there are some things you need to do, right, just for it to work perfectly well. If you follow through the documentation I'm going to share, you're going to like easily do that. So it's going to say Docker desktop starting. So it's going to start soon. So in order to ensure that you know that the Docker desktop is running, you go to CMD, open CMD command prompts that way, right? You can do Docker PS. When you do Docker PS, you can see it will return something like this. right? Though it's going to be empty for you at first because automatically my when I start up my Docker desktop, you kind of start up my Airflow services by default. That's why you're seeing all of this. But since you don't have anything set up, you won't see this result. What you're just gonna see is this headers and nothing is gonna be like follow. So it's just gonna be this headers, right? So if it returns uh, the headers just like this, then your Docker daemon has started. So okay, good. So now definitely you want to check Docker version to check version of Docker. If you have Docker installed, this will definitely return the version of your Docker, and you can do Docker run hello world. This should run without error, right? And if you see do Docker ps, you will now see the container that run this hello world also. So for Python, if you want to uh, confirm that your Python is running, so for Windows users, I think you can actually install your Python directly from Microsoft Store if you want. I think you can do that. Or either ways. So, but if your Python is working fine, if you do Python version, you are going to see the version of your Python that you have. Let me just copy this and put on command line, paste, sorry, I'm not supposed to say Python dash version. I said Python was not fine. You might come up with this kind of error, right? Just let's try Python 3 dash version. It did say Python was not fun. Ideally, I have Python actually. So if you encounter this kind of error, you can just, well, I would say you should go through VS Code first. I think you just go through VS Code since you're going to be doing your whole editing code from VS Code, so you can just go through VS Code directly. And if you've installed Git, if you come to this terminal, perhaps this terminal will not even show. So how you can do that is at the top here, you see terminal, see this terminal option, click on terminal, click on new terminal, then this window is going to show like this. So at first it shows PowerShell. You can switch at this icon here, click on this icon. If you install Git successfully, you see Git bash, right? Then if you are running WSL, which is Windows Subsystem Linux, or which you are going to enable when you are doing your Docker desktop or stuff, you are going to enable flipping the Windows subsystem for Linux, right? So I don't really need to talk much about this. So now you can, from PowerShell, you have git bash, then you have cmd, like the usual command prompts just before I came to Visual Studio Code. So we are on PowerShell at the moment. I usually like to work directly with git bash, right? So I go to git bash, then I would say git save version. Oh, sorry, I want to say Python version. Python dash version. Seeing Python on farm. If you let's say Python 3 dash version, Python 3 on farm. Actually, you have Python, but sometimes just do it that way. So let's do something. So we go to see this top middle, the top middle of the Visual Studio Code. Try to click on it and say uh let's run this palette. This Control Shift, let's do Control Shift P. This one, show and run commands, right? Then select Python select interpreter. So let's select Python select interpreter. So look at this result here. Say an invalid blah 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 blah. Please try changing it. Blah blah blah. Right. You can try to do create virtual environment and stuff like that. So like this environment, look at this option here. We have Python 3.93 blah 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 recommended. So this option say recommended because I already have Python installed before. But ideally for this implementation, we are going to be using virtual environment. I'm going to explain why we are using virtual environment instead of the normal local Python environment. So we're going to explain that. But let's just continue from here. So select this recommended interpreter here. So when I select this now, let's let's do Python version again. Let's check. If it does not work, try and open another terminal, like another terminal here. It does not work now, but let's open another terminal. Come here to git bash. Let's see. Hmm. It still did not work. So let's try that again. I don't know why it's behaving that way. Control Shift P, select Python interpreter. We selected this before and it's supposed to work. So let's do that again. Let's do that again. Python 3 version. Sometimes it just behaves that way. Let's open a new a new terminal and use PowerShell instead. It's still not working. So, but let's do something. Let's try something else. So go to settings at the top, so at the bottom left here, and go to settings and go to let's let it load. Go to applications. No, let's go to extensions instead. Extensions. Let's go to Python. Then you see something like yeah, this default interpreter part. This default interpreter part. Let's see. Actually, we have our part. We have our part selected here, so it ought to like work well because this is where Visual Studio will understand that you want to be running your Python from, and ideally it's when you install Python manually, or I don't know, maybe even from Microsoft Store. The the ideal part will be under your C drive, under users, then your user, the user of your laptop. In this case, my own is Tingle 14. Your own can be the name, your name. Maybe if you have your name is John Smith, your own can be John Dot Smith or something like that. Right? Then app data, local. Ideally, this app data is usually will come up as hidden folder. So let me show you that in a bit. So go to your file explorer, then go to C drive, then you go to users, then you go to your user. You'll be able to identify when it's user, so you know which of the user. Then you see app data. You can see that this app data, the way the folder is kind of grayed out compared to other folders, so it's indicates hidden folders, right? Maybe at first you might not see it on your file explorer. In order to make it visible, you can try something from here. So you can say from here like think somewhere here you should be able to say show hidden files. Let me just expand it and six options, view, show. There's something somewhere around here. I don't know. The kind of updates that have been made on Windows now. So hidden, look at this, hidden files and folders. So I show hidden files, folders, and drives, right? So if it is not, if this guy was not selected, you won't have seen that app data, this app data folder. So this has to be checked. So this is Windows 11. So if you're not using Windows 11, ideally around this around this settings here, you are able to see that show this file session, right? So that's about that. So we go to app data, go to local, then just look for uh let me see. So that's I think is it programs? Let me check again. Uh yeah, programs. Then Python. See. So programs, go to programs, then Python, Python 3.9. So this is where this is like the home directory of your Python, right? And it works fine here. So and that's what you have set as our default interpreter path. Since this is actually checked, everything should actually work fine for for this app in order to like track this Python version stuff. So and if you run Python, it should display Python. But if I run Python now and it's taking me to Microsoft Store, sometimes this behavior you can experience it on Windows and it's just what it is like. So if you are experiencing that, you can go ahead and like get Python directly from Microsoft Store. So that's why I even said you might want to even get it from Microsoft Store directly in order to avoid all of this unnecessary configuration. But let's say I don't want to even install it from Microsoft Store. One thing we can do is to also go to uh, environment variables. So these things are those kind of issues we gone through with setups, installation. So I want like us to like walk us through those kind of challenges. Let's go to environment variables. Now you have user variable, you have system variables. Just check for Python home. You can see this Python home is that part that I went to on the other end is included here. On the system variable is also there, but ideally let's go to path. So let's go to path. Let's look for that Python path, whether it is here. Uh, it is not here. Okay, let's go to user variable. For user variable is not here too. Is not here too. Is not here. So let me go to that system variables again and check that part just to be sure. So you can see that it is not here. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to edit this one, copy this part. Then I'm using r home slash bin or something like that. So if you go to that Python stuff again, this one does not have bin folder, right? So ideally, this is your application that you need for Python, which is so I'm just going to create a new environment variable. Let me just paste and edit. We've already had like a an environment variable created at Python home where we specify the path. So I'm going to put Python home. Then by that path, that Python home leads to Python 3.9. It ends here, right? Then I'm now going to specify this application itself, Python. So .exe. So I'll now say slash Python, sorry, Python in bracket like this .exe. Let me copy this, right? Then I think I can leave it here. Okay. Let me go to system variables and also do the same thing. Okay, it's here. Okay, I think I did it. Let me go to user variables and look at the path, and also create a new variable and do that same thing. So paste it there. Okay, okay, okay. Now let's even try it on CMD again. But we have to close because if the change we did to the environment variable, we just did it and we have opened it CMD before. So we have to close this guy and open it again, CMD. So let's do Python version again or something. Let's try. See Python version not Python was not found. So ideally you still find it now, but it's still taking us to Microsoft Store. But if the issue still persists, so let's try to install Python from Microsoft Store. So click on Get. This is the more like the latest Python that we have, which is cool. So let's install. So since we are installing directly from Microsoft Store, you shouldn't have any issues. Let's just wait for it to complete. Uh, okay, almost done. So I think we are good. So let's close this CMD and open it again now. CMD, and let's do Python version. We install Python 3.1, 3.12, right? To Python version. You should see that version. So we're good, good to go, good to go, good to go, sir. So now since that is good, the next requirement that we have was uh Git. So from your CMD, you can also do Git version or something like that. Git status version. Okay, you have Git version, blah 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 blah. So it means Git is also there. On Visual Studio, definitely. We've opened Visual Studio, you can see that Visual Studio code is available. So that's fine. Then setting up the MDS. Now this setting up the MDS will come in our later video. So this will include setting up some of these tags, right? Since you have those prerequisites, Docker and the likes. So all this will just come in handy, except from the likes of maybe opening creating a GCS, a Google Cloud account, and doing all those stuff. So we will continue from there in our next session, in our next video. So for now, let's that will be it. So in our next video, we're going to talk about setting up the MTS, and we can then proceed with actually implementing the end-to-end pipeline. So don't forget to click on the subscribe button and also click the notification bell in order to get notified for new videos, new series. And coming this Sunday, we are going to continue our series on solving business problems using SQL. We had the first episode last week Sunday, and we use SQL to solve business problem, e-commerce problem, and we are more like 60% done with the use cases that we or the problems that we are trying to solve. So in the next episode, we're going to wrap up the questions, and I believe you're going to learn a lot. So don't forget to click on subscribe and hit the notification bell. Bye for now. Thank you very much.